The grand finals of best of 5. I hope you danced your asses off during that intro. Game. Oh, she put that in all chat. That's a little bit awkward. But spotting on the bottom left corner of the map, winning his half of the bracket, it's the blue Terran player, Kelazhur. I'm surprised that doesn't come as like boxes and unrecognizable characters. Oh, hold up, you're muted for some reason. I did not mute you, but you're muted. Okay, go.
As the red Terran, it's Miso.
I must have hit a hotkey or something. Oozy poops.
Okay, sure.
Well, I mean, like, when do I ever
cheating on
mute
it.
you? It's like, oh, guys, we're doing the ads. Be quiet. Let's be quiet during the ads. Like, shh.
Because you're mad at me for playing Archon mode with someone else.
Yo, I just gotten over recognizing the fact that you're cheating on me with another Archon, okay? And you just gotta bring it up and throw it in my face.
Actually, they got someone else because you weren't available.
They're just not paying enough attention to you. Is that what was the problem in this relationship? You never want to have fun.
This thing is really breaking. It just comes out like without me touching it.
Oh yeah, her microphone just fell off. But okay, guys, Kelazhur is a pretty good player. The one thing that surprises me most, though, you know, Miso, he's got that notoriety of having been on KT. A Korean player, just you would assume he'd come in a raffle stomp a lot of these guys, but the games have been pretty close, and he did lose. He didn't even get to the semifinals, much less the finals in the Lycan League earlier this week. So he's not this unstoppable force of Terran that we would see out of like a Bolt or you know, like an MMA or an Innovation or anything like that. He's actually, he's good, but he's not so good that he, I think, eclipses everybody else, and that's kind of cool to see. I'm kind of yearning for Kelazhur to win this one out. It'd be really neat, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if Miso won, you know?
Sure, yeah. Actually, I feel like we brought up, you know, that it's only going to be one server for Legacy of the Void, but we haven't really discussed it in that, you know, that's going to fix the whole, like, NA ladder versus Korean ladder thing. I mean...
yeah.
It'll be funny because you get like 200 Koreans in Grandmaster and literally no North American in Grandmaster. Like,
I don't know, man. Like we throw jokes around like that, but like there's so many open slots a lot of the time. Like we see those random people on the Korean ladder. Yeah.
Those are usually just alt accounts though, like shared accounts from teams or
I guess, yeah,
like,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean I'm sure there'll be some GMs that aren't Korean, right? But it's gonna be like I think a lot more difficult even for you know, pro gamers from North America. But anyways, that's a long ways off, at least 6 months. We got this little just
lag.
cyclone attack.
This didn't happen all day till just now. What you guys are seeing right now is very irritating because this happens when we're playing. And it's not going to lag the players out initially. It'll eventually go to the pause screen when it catches up.
It's, yeah, on it now.
Yeah, because there's the clip. What it seems to do, though, is it almost... Like, my client is closed now. Like, the computer doesn't see it in the taskbar when that happens, and everything disappears, and I don't understand. It's frustrating. But, unfortunately, it does actually affect the players. The nice thing, though, is once it happens, it doesn't seem to happen again. So, there's that.
Nice. Yeah, one little hiccup and it's fine.
Alright, Banshee gonna come in. Cyclone can deal with this.
She does have Cloak.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. So, Kelazhur doesn't have Cloak yet. That's almost done. But does he have a scan, more importantly? He does, as well as Mr.
I mean, there's such a selecting amount of things that can break that lock
Cyclone! Still on cooldown, I'm guessing. Oh well, we see a scan.
I was gonna say, as short as his range is, though, I mean, it can shoot up. It can still do a bit of damage. So I'm surprised he didn't chase that a little bit harder. As you see the Banshee move out too from his we saw in the QXE versus Miso best of 3, QXE had opened with a lot of his own Banshees, and Miso did a great job of shutting them down with Marines, with turrets, with Cyclones. I don't think Banshees are that great in TVT anymore, to be completely honest with you. Maybe a little bit later on when you get that speed upgrade, but it just feels like they're easier than ever to shut down. But shockingly to me, I see both of them get some pretty nice kills, some good control. Backs away, keeps the Banshee alive for now.
Yeah, I think it's more, they're still fulfilling the role that they basically do in Heart of the Swarm, where it's less about directly dealing damage, I would say, although sometimes they do, and that's awesome. And just getting control. They're a scout, they can be used in defense still pretty effectively. It's more about their control when attacking than your control when defending. But yeah, I still like opening Banshees in TVT.
Well, we'll see what happens here as the follow-up. I mean, they are going to, I guess, both transition out of it. Mech versus Bio is going to be the next question, I think, on our minds. We've seen quite a bit of Mech still find its way in here, but I think some of the most fun games we've seen, whether it's Mech, whether it's Bio, when tanks are involved, one of the greatest changes that came in Legacy of the Void is the fact that you could pick up tanks while in siege mode. So no longer do you have to spend 3 seconds unsieging them trying to run away from that Seeker missile or take damage from the Banshee because you can't get it quite in that medevac. If you've got medevacs out, you can pick them up, you can maneuver them around, you can also juke out projectile shots with them. There's just so many cool ways you're going to be able to use tanks in Legacy of the Void thanks to this one small change. It's not even small, it's one major change.
So we have a fairly sizable force from Miso. So it's kind of surprising how big his air army is. Rex, that one Cyclone, that's very unfortunate. That would have been very helpful, potentially, in defending. Although that comes to I feel like Cyclone's just going to be harder to control in very hectic situations, which sometimes TBT pushes can be.
These tanks, though, they'll get broken by those Banshees, I fear.
They will.
The turret's not quite done. This is looking bad for Kelazhur.
It's kind of looking like it's going to be game. He has no anti-air to deal with this.
I'm kind of thinking that too. The lack of Vikings is just scary. That's not a way to describe it.
That's too bad because, I mean, it seems like more and more with Vikings already being kind of important in early to mid-game TBT and medevacs being useful later on for drops and now siege tank drops, that air is going to be more and more important, and Kelazhur actually just completely gave up on it.
Well, I did have a small counterattack going on this side of the map. Banshee's just kind of on auto-attack mode, but despite the fact that Miso is down in workers, Kelazhur's now down a base, so it's not exactly too favorable here for our blue Terran. And there's no real easy way to come back from a behind like this. You know you're already behind the Vikings, so you don't really start your own unless you know your opponent stopped all production. Back at home, looks like this Vikings will clear up that Banshee. And despite how many kills she's managed to get, 17 kills by the end of her life, it's still not enough to shut Miso down.
Like, it's Stim finishing up for Kelazhur, but if he had a couple of drops ready to go, I'd be a lot more happy for him. Oh, careful. 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 Yeah!
Well, it didn't hit the command center, but it looked like it did. It's kind of cool. That's Seeker missile hype.
That's kind of game. I mean, like, losing the command center is absolutely terrible. If this is Banshee kills 10 more workers, I would still say that he's not looking so hot. Again, if there was drops, I'd be like, well, maybe he returns the drop and does some damage. But the drops are coming from Miso.
It just feels a little too one-sided at this point. The supply count doesn't quite reflect that. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of does the army value. We're looking more at the workers, but there's just no point in having 40-plus workers if they're all stuck on one base like this. It's
pretty easy for Miso to control this area too. It's a pretty hard contain, honestly, without drops from Kelazhur, which he's finally getting. So, at this point, Miso's got to be starting to go through the checklist of what can he do to break out. Either he tries to just literally break out from the choke and the ramp, and that's a bad idea, or he drops. That's probably the most likely answer. So you gotta start bulking up your reinforcements back at home.
Well, big thank you to Mirror1989. Guess that's the year he's born. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and being an awesome. Everyone's asking about if we're going to get Cactuar emotes. I don't know. Probably. We'll put a pause on that for now, though. Got a bunch of unused emotes we really got to get rid of first, but this air creep force, I don't know how you want to call it, but the Vikings are going to zone out any air. The Banshee can't really be chased, because if the Marines come close to the ledge, the siege tanks will just fire on them. I mean, Miso could actually pick up the tanks and move them around himself without even unsieging them.
Exactly. I mean, this is a really easy situation for Miso. Kelazhur is just literally like trapped inside of this box, and is quickly losing out in the timing where his own, well, basically a base trade is just not going to work anymore as Miso is consolidating his reinforcements.
If this was just a Banshee and not Vikings, this Marines can pick up the medevacs, they drop top of the tanks. He breaks this easy peasy, and he's trying to do that here and now, but this defense is too good for Miso. Or actually, even call it defense and attack. He's defending the cliff. GG, ladies and gentlemen, Miso will take game number 1.
Miso winning.
And for folks asking, this is Legacy of the Void. We got to see a little bit of a Cyclone action at the